Hey guys, it's Nicole here, back with another video. I hope you're all well and keeping safe. Now for today's video, I'm going to be doing my most highly requested video on my channel, which I'm so excited about. I want it to be super good and super informative for you guys. And that is going to be reviewing the nightlife, the clubs in Bristol. I'm going to be giving you guys a detailed review of basically most of the clubs in Bristol, like the popular ones, where the students tend to go, where I've gone throughout my time at Bristol, giving you guys the lowdown, where to go, where not to go. Like a lot of the videos on my channel, it is my personal opinion and experience. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. I'm not saying my word is gospel. At the end of the day, it's up to you guys to explore and to find out what clubs you do and don't like. We're all going to have different experiences. I'm just sharing my insight and my personal opinion. If you aren't already, please make sure you are subscribed and you give this video a massive thumbs up. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, I thought I would structure this video in terms of geographical location, so I'm going to first mention clubs that are in the city centre, right in the heart of the city, which a lot of the students, particularly University of Bristol UAB students like myself, would go to. And then I'm going to mention the ones that kind of slightly go further and further away from the heart of the campus and the city. The first club that I'm going to mention is Gravity, formerly known as Bunker, formerly known as Analog. So it's had 3 name changes whilst kind of it's been around. When I started Bristol in 2017, it had recently been changed to Gravity. Before that, it was called Bunker, and then way before that it was called Analog. But a lot of my older friends would call it Bunker, so I used to get confused at first, and people would say, oh, you're going Bunker, but it's now known as Gravity. Gravity is situated on the Triangle, and the Triangle in Bristol, for those who don't know, is literally almost like a triangle of like shops and clubs and pubs, and it's kind of a reference point. When you're in Bristol, you're kind of like, oh, I'm on the Triangle, like I'm going to the Triangle, because it's kind of like a central hub, and then you kind of have everything dotted around it. Gravity is where the University of Bristol Sports Night is held. Every Wednesday, all the sports societies will go to Gravity, and is absolute carnage. Now, Gravity is not my favourite club at all. I've had many bad experiences in Gravity. I do not like Gravity unless I'm either going with like a big group, or like I'm with people who I feel that I can trust and I feel safe with for a number of reasons. Don't get me wrong, Gravity is fine if you're a 6-foot+ rugby lad who does not care about anything or personal space or literally anything, that's fine. But when you mix testosterone, alcohol, and God knows what else, you just get a Gravity night Wednesday evening, and it's absolute chaos. I don't feel safe going there because it is just very testosterone filled. Like the last couple of times I've gone, there's been constant fights breaking out. Like I'll be dancing in the dance floor and there's literally been fights breaking out in front of me, because it's kind of like the whole, like all the like sporting lads, testosterone, alcohol, and it just sometimes gets too much. There's been an instance where I'd lost my friends and little old me lost on the dance floor, surrounded by all these rugby lads. I could not get out. I was trapped. And yeah, so I'm not putting Gravity off anyone, but I prefer to go as a girl. I feel, without going into too much detail, I prefer to go when I'm with a group that I can trust and it's a big group of people who I know won't leave me. Gravity do have other nights, but Wednesday is their student night for sporting events, and Monday is their most notoriously known student night, mainly for freshers, sometimes 2nd or 3rd years. I may have gone as a 3rd year, which I'm not proud of at all, because when I told my friends I was going Gravity Monday, it's called Gravity Monday, I got roasted. But I was like, do you know what, I want to live my inner fresher and I want to see what it's like. Gravity has a ball pit, has like a really nice big smoking area which they've now put a bar in as well, so there's like a bar inside and outside, and they've actually newly created this sort of space where there's a silent disco. So whenever we'd go to sports night on Wednesday, we'd all go and like put our headphones on and like have the silent disco, which was really fun. So that is a good thing that they've recently done this year with Gravity. And a good thing to look out for if you do go Gravity Monday is at midnight in the smoking area they give out free fried chicken. It is literally the best thing in the world. The amount of times when I was in first or second year, me and my friends would run to the smoking area to get the chicken. We'd literally run. I'd be like, right, it's now like 11:50. I'm hovering, and then you see them walk down with those boxes of chicken, because obviously, like, if you're a little bit bevved, you want a bit of food, they're bringing down this chicken and you dart and you just take a handful. I don't know how that's gonna work with Corona now, but you know, that's something to look forward to in the future. The next club I'm going to be speaking about is a personal favourite of mine and is a club that I hold very dear to my heart. Now this is Lizard Lounge, or Lounge, the Lounge. So they were like toing and froing with changing the name, and it was called Lizard Lounge, and then they wanted to change it to the Lounge, and there was literal uproar. There was absolute carnage. People were like, you can't do that, you know, it's the Lizard Lounge for a reason. Anyway, I like Lizard Lounge because it's like £3 entry, you get a free shot and a lollipop on entry, a little bit grubby sometimes. It's hit or miss depending on what time you get there. So if you get there before sort of like 11:30, midnight, I've walked in and there's literally just been me and my friends before, which is quite jokes, but you know, sometimes you do want it to be quite packed. And Lizard Lounge is just great fun because some societies, more of sort of the non-sporting societies, other sporting societies do have events at Lizard Lounge, but it's more kind of like other societies as well, so like musical theatre or like different societies that wouldn't usually be in Gravity for the sports night tend to go here, and it's just great fun. Tuesday, and they actually have a sort of calendar of different days, so I think it's like Circus Tuesday, Knockout Wednesday. They literally, like, for every day of the week they have like a different sort of like event, which is really fun. And then like they have themed, when they take the club photos of you, they have like the themed order of it. This is really sad to admit, but the Lizard Lounge Instagram account always flirts with me. They follow me on Instagram, they always comment on my pictures. And also the cloakman who like does the coats, he literally knows me. Like whenever I see him, he's this Spanish man, and he like always speaks to me in Spanish and like kisses my hand and like takes my coat for free, doesn't charge me. So I do like Lounge, and I love the different deals they have. They have like the 3 for 5 like shots, and they always have these jugs and bowls and VK deals, so people are always walking around with like a VK between each gap of their finger and just downing it. They also used to do some really fun challenges. So they did, when there was the I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, they did the bush trucker trials there, and one time I ate a cricket for a whole bottle of champagne. And I did it because I was like, I want that champagne. So I ate a cricket, which was interesting. And then my friend had to eat like mealworms, and they used to do this thing where you'd sign your name down, and then if you got drawn out a raffle, you'd have to eat a spider and you'd win £100. And whenever I'd go there I went with a few societies in my second year, I was always dressed up and looked like I made an absolute tit of myself, and they'd go around and record and like speak to the people in the club, and then they put it on Facebook. And one of the girls I actually knew, and she'd always come up to me, like, Nicole, talk me through your outfit. What are you wearing today? And if you know me, you know that I like dressing up. So any excuse to dress up, even if I look silly, I'm like, I want to dress up. And I think the best one that I wore was, there was the theme anything but clothes. So my friend came to my house, and she taped me up, like made a fragile tape bra, and then a bin bag skirt, and that's literally all I wore. And then we covered our shoes in like rubbish bags and stuff, and she made me do a catwalk. My friend who had the whole camera and the light in the club, she was like, right Nicole, catwalk, I want you to, you know, work your outfit. Not my finest hour. The next club I'm going to be speaking about is called Lola Los. Now this club is literally opposite Gravity and Lounge. So you've got Gravity here, walk down the road, there's literally Lounge, cross the road and there is Lola Los. So it's all in this vicinity of the triangle. Now Lola Los is sort of Hawaii themed, beach vibes. The club is way too small. I don't like it. I've had good nights there, but it's always too packed. And when you're my height, you're always, people's armpits are always at your nose area, and it just sometimes gets too packed. And they're very choosy with when they decide to do a dress code. Like I remember I went for a friend's birthday, I think Friday or Saturday, and we were just wearing casual clothes, but I think one of my friends was too casual and they were like, you can't come in. So suddenly they decided that it was a very high-end club and they weren't letting students because they were wearing trainers. But Lola Los is not somewhere that I would want to go. I know some friends who literally go there every single week, and I believe the student night is Tuesday. People are like, oh, you go Lola Los. Once again, quite a few Bristol societies tend to go at Lola Los as well. And it's an okay club. It's just, for me, it's way too small and the setup's really strange, and it's quite confusing because there's mirrors in there and you think there's more club and there's not, and you just walk into the mirror. I've done that a few times, and it's just not my favorite. I've only been there a handful of times, but once again, it's good that you have that option of the different clubs on the triangle. The next club I'm going to be speaking about is called Mbargos. Now this is spelled M and then Mbargo, and it is literally a less than 5-minute walk from Lola Los. So you're now across the road, Lola Los, walk down to the left, you have Mbargos, and it is again situated on the triangle. Now, me and Mbargos, we have a love-hate relationship. We didn't get off to the best start in first year, when I was in my first year, because that is where I got assaulted. I will put the link above if you guys don't know what happened. I got assaulted by a stranger in Mbargos in my first year for no reason. And after that instance, I didn't really step foot in Mbargos for a while. I was like, that is not the place for me. A little bit of PTSD. However, in my second and third year, I gave it a chance, and I'm glad I did, because I've had some really fun nights in Mbargo. A lot of the time it is free. I think for some days they started to charge, but most of the time it is literally free entry. So I find that if it's free entry, if the club's dead, you can just go home and you haven't really wasted money. So they're like, you don't need to really worry about that, which is a reason why I do love Mbargos. The drinks are a little bit pricey in comparison to some of the other clubs, and for what it is, because it's not the nicest club, it's literally just a room. But you know, a few things I don't like about Mbargos is the outdoory smoking area bit is just so packed and cramped. You can't really actually get any form of fresh air because it's this just tiny bit where people are just smoking. Also the guys, I find that the guys are very predatory, is that even a word? But you know what I mean. Like, sometimes if you're with a group of girls or you're going into the dance floor, you literally feel like you're walking into the lion's den. Guys will stare at you, and I've had my bum slapped multiple times. I've been grabbed. It's not in that instance I don't like I feel I wouldn't go if I was in a small group, once again kind of similar to Gravity. And it really saddens me to say that, but it's a lot of reality for girls when they go clubbing, and it's something that I've experienced. And yeah, it's sad that it happens, but that is the reality for a lot of girls. I've had some really good nights in Mbargos because a lot of my friends and a lot of Bristol people tend to go on a Monday. So as I was saying with the whole Gravity Monday, that's more of a fresher thing. But then when you get to sort of second and third year, a lot of people would just go to Mbargos. And it was just great fun because it's free, it's on the triangle as well, and you still have that sort of going out Monday vibe which you would have got from going Gravity. and obviously Gravity is literally riddled with babies and freshers. When you get to your second and third year, you're like, I want to be with people who are basically my age. I've also found that Mbargos is good on a number of nights, which is really good. So a lot of my friends, if we're like, okay, we want to go out, we'll just spontaneously go to Mbargos and have a good time. Where I find if you go sort of like Gravity or you go to other clubs and you spontaneously decide to go there, it may not be as good. So Mbargos is good in that sense. The second place I'm going to speak about, which isn't really classed as a club, but it kind of is, and it's literally opposite Mbargos. It's called Brass Pig. Now, Brass Pig is this really, really nice sort of bar, pub type feel, and it's got a bar and you can get drinks, and then if you go downstairs, it's sort of like a little club type thing, which is really nice. So after about 11 o'clock, I think, they turn the lights on downstairs and it's like a little disco. So what we do a lot of the time in third year, on a Monday, we'd go to Brass Pig, we'd go to Brass Pig, have a couple drinks, go to the little disco bit, and then we'd go to Mbargos. And quite a lot of older uni students tend to do that more. It's kind of more as the mature thing to do instead of going to the Gravity Monday. I like Brass Pig because a lot of the time they do have drinks deals, and I just like the atmosphere. It's a really nice vibe there. The next club I'm going to be speaking about is called Rocca, and it is on the Triangle. If you make kind of a left and go round past Mbargos, it is there. I've never been Rocca until literally this year. I just would see it and I was like, that looks rubbish, it looks really bad, so I never ever went there. However, a few societies love going to Rocca, and after sort of formals and stuff, we'd go to Rocca, and it's great fun. It's good if, once again, and this is the same with all the clubs, is if you're with a good group of people, you can have fun. But it's a mix, because sometimes it's weird, because sometimes you have the locals, which obviously are like older working people, and then you'll have students as well, and it gets very, very, very packed and very sweaty and hot and sticky. And I remember, I think the last time I was there, I did have a good time, but people just kept stepping on my feet because it was so packed, and for some reason they just kept letting more and more in. However, I think Rocca have the friendliest bouncers. That is something I didn't mention. Bouncers. Rocca have the friendliest bouncers out of all the Triangle clubs. Gravity's bouncers are horrible. They are so horrible, and it's like an actual meme in Bristol with how horrible the bouncers in Gravity are. And just in general, like quite a lot of the bouncers in Bristol are horrible. And in Gravity, they are just unnecessarily loud, violent. I think it's happened in Lounge as well, but from what I've seen with Gravity, they are known just for being they'll literally scream in your face for no reason. Like, get your ticket out, you'll have your ticket on your phone, and they will scream at you, where's your ID? My ID's at the back of my phone, and they'll literally scream at you for no reason. But have a lot of respect for Rocca bouncers, because one time I was in there was this really weird guy that was following us throughout the whole night, and I think the bouncer kind of clocked on, and he came up to us and he was like, is that guy bothering you? And I was like, he's literally been following us all night, I'm scared. And he's like, right, I'll sort him out. And then they kicked him out the club. So it was really good. So I have respect, because I feel like no other bouncer would do that. So I have a lot of love for Rocca in that respect. And the drinks aren't too pricey as well. It's just kind of very packed, and it's quite tacky, some would say, but a lot of people love it. The next clubs that I'm going to be speaking about are now further away from the Triangle and a kind of more towards the city centre, away from the University of Bristol student campus. This club I'm going to be speaking about is called Popworld. Now, it's just past the harbour side in Bristol, so it is more out the way, and you'd probably have to get an Uber, or it's like a 40-minute walk or a couple buses. However, I do not recommend going. I haven't been, so it's kind of unfair for me to form an opinion, but all my friends have said it is rubbish. The only good thing is cheap drinks, and I wouldn't go that far for cheap drinks. And it's just kind of a thing in Bristol, like you just don't go to Popworld, like you just don't go. It's never been on my bucket list to go, and I don't recommend it to you guys. If anyone's been Popworld and had a good time, comment down below, let me know. Change my mind, maybe I'll have to explore it in the future, but as of now, no. The next club I'm going to be speaking about is called OMG. Now, OMG is known because it is a gay club, and on Wednesdays it's free entry. I really like OMG. I've had some really good nights, and once again I love a free club. They have a drag sort of event where they have drag queens come and they perform, and then they kind of bring guys, it's mainly guys, a couple of times they've brought up girls, but guys to basically strip and dance and win household appliances, so like microwaves and stuff, like random stuff. There's cages, there's poles. It's pretty crazy. There's crazy drinks as well, like drink names. It's just, there's a lot going on. It's a lot, but it's great fun. And a lot of my friends who aren't into sports night on a Wednesday will go OMG. So if we don't go sports night, we'll go to OMG. As I said, it's free, it's fun. The toilets, what's interesting is the toilets are unisex. So I've never experienced that before. So to go into a club and go to the toilet and there's guys there as well, that was a new experience for me. But that's one thing to bear in mind about OMG. However, it is great fun if you're with good people and you're fun. And you'll just have such a good time. It's a good vibe. They always tend to play remix music though. So the music will just be kind of like fast-paced, upbeat remixes of radio classics and like, you know, top like chart toppers. The next club that I'm going to speak about, which is literally near OMG, it's opposite OMG, is called Basement 45. Now this is really small. It's probably one of the smallest clubs in Bristol, I think, because it's basically just like 2 little rooms, and there's like this little gap where the bar is, and then a cloakroom, and then a seating area. I've been there a handful of times. I've been there on 2 occasions for birthdays, because you actually can rent it out for like a birthday. So I've been to a couple 21sts there, which was fun. It's nice to just have like a big space, and I've been to a few different events there. It's okay, but it's very strange because, as I said, it's small, and the crowd that goes there, because it's outside of that student bubble, you'll find the crowd is maybe older or considerably younger, and it's a weird kind of vibe. But I've had fun nights there, and I think it just kind of depends on what the event. So they do have some weird events there, but I went to a kind of, I think it was like a disco like type thing, and it was fun as more people came, but in the beginning it was absolutely dead, and we were like, do we go, do we stay, like what do we do? Worst case scenario, if Basement 45 is rubbish and you're not having a good time, hop on over to OMG for a free night and you'll have a good time. I think only on Wednesdays it's free. I'm not 100% sure, it may have changed, but I love that Bristol nightlife. You are spoiled for choice. Like, I haven't even scratched the surface of the clubs. You were literally with bars, secret bars, literally there's so much to do. If you want to find out more of a general scope of the Bristol nightlife, click on my things to do in Bristol video, which is like a student guide of the fun things you can do in Bristol. The next club I'm going to speak about is called Thekla. Now, for those who don't know, Thekla is a boat club. It's basically a club on a boat, and the boat is docked at the harbour side, and I love Thekla. I've really enjoyed it since I was in my first year. It was kind of one of the first clubs I went to. Great fun. They have different themed nights. They have Indie Tuesday, I think it is. Yeah, Indie Tuesdays. No, Thekla Thursday. Thekla Thursdays, where they have like all the indie classics, you know, like Mr. Bright Summer, like all those kind of songs, and you're just singing at the top of your lungs and having such a great time. However, it always stinks of sick in there, and it's sticky. Your feet will get stuck to the floor. So if you can get past the smell of sick and your feet sticking to the floor, you'll be fine. I also find the setup quite confusing, because you have sort of like the outside smoking area, and then you have different floors and different levels, so it can be quite confusing to sort of navigate your way around Thekla. However, it's great fun. I think last year they started a student night which is called Donuts, which I think was kind of competing with Gravity Monday. I think if you get there before a certain time, you get free donuts, which is a cool thing. Bristol, again, their nightlife, they love feeding their students, and they're always giving out free food, which is great fun. So I really do like Thekla. I just think it's great fun, and I've always had a good night in Thekla. However, I'm really confused at what's happening with Thekla, because at one point people were saying how it's closing down, it's shutting down, and I was like, please no, don't shut down. I love Thekla. So I don't really know what's happening with that. I'm gonna have a little research and see whether it's like closing or not. but if it's still there, I recommend going. The next club I'm going to speak about is Pryzym, Bristol. Now I feel like it's the general consensus for anyone who knows Pryzym knows it's not a good club. So I haven't been to the Pryzym in my hometown, but I've been to the Pryzym in Bristol, and for some reason one of my friends loved going in first year, so we'd go every week, and it's just so strange. Like, you'd see men on their stag do's, you get such a strange array of people that go to Pryzym. It's not my favourite. However, sometimes the sporting societies would host their massive sports night, which with Bristol it's called Score, where you have all the sporting societies there, and they'd hold it there because Pryzym is one of the bigger clubs. So Score at Pryzym is great fun because you have all the different rooms with the different types of music. So Pryzym can be fun in that instance because it does have all the different types of music, and it is bigger and it's more of a space, and it can be quite fun, but it's just kind of like what night you go on. I'd prefer to go if there was like a special type of night, or if there was Score. I probably will only go to Pryzym if there is Score. The next club I'm going to speak about is called SWX, and it is very similar to Pryzym in a sense that it is huge. There's the different rooms with the different themed music. I like SWX for events like Score, or if I'm with a group of people, a big group of people, because it is huge and I always end up losing my friends. However, I've seen some really good acts there, like Chase and Status, Wilkinson, because they have a stage and it's just fun to sort of have the acts there as well as having the club, and there's like a photo booth, and it's quite fun. There's a lot going on, but as I said, I feel like it's one of those places where you just don't want to lose your friends because it is far out again, and definitely an Uber ride back home. The next club I'm going to speak about is called Old Crown Court. Now, Old Crown Court is further away and is kind of sort of near the harbour side, so sort of near Thekla, but it is definitely an Uber ride to the club. And I have been to Old Crown Court only a handful of times, but it's a weird club, very weird experience. I've been twice on Halloween, and I've been to these other kind of like D&B and like jungle events, and it's literally feels like a warehouse. So you go in, it's really cold, you have two different sides of the room. I can't tell if it is a warehouse that they've turned into a club, or they're trying to make the club look like a warehouse, because it's like you walk into a room and there's like nothing there, and there's stairs to walk up to the toilet, and you feel like you could just fall through the steps. Like, I don't know what it is, but I have had really good nights there. I did Halloween last year with my flatmates, which was great fun, and it's a strange setup, but the music is really good. I've had really good times at Old Crown Court. The next club that I'm going to speak about is called Lakota. Now, this is probably one of my favourite clubs in Bristol. I absolutely love Lakota. Lakota is my club. Whenever there's like an event, catch me at Lakota. I absolutely love it. I've had, I think, some of my best nights in Lakota. Whenever there is an event, so they do sort of all different types of genres. They do jungle, D&B, tech, house, disco, funk, soul, and I love all those kind of events, and I will literally go every time there's an event at Lakota, and it's just great fun. Lakota, like some of the other clubs, does have different rooms and like smoking areas, and they actually do expand depending on the capacity of the event. Sometimes they won't open all their rooms, and then sometimes they'll open all of them. They have all these different kind of events. Like, they have this really popular one. It's like a disco event. It has like funk, soul. It's just so much fun, and even though it is quite far away from sort of like the main UOB hub, we'll get an Uber, and you'll find that a lot of Bristol students will go, and it's so fun when you've literally like travelled to this club and like all your friends are going, and like you can like you bump into all your friends in the club, and it's just so much fun. The drinks are pricey, so I don't recommend the drinks at Lakota. That's one of the things, like they're a little bit more on the expensive side. Even for like singles or like shots, it's a bit overpriced. Lakota again is one of those clubs that I got told was going to shut down, and there was quite a few whispers about whether it's going to be shut down or not. I don't know if it is going to be shut down. It's still there at the moment. Not long ago, I think a couple months ago, the ceiling, the floor actually fell through. I don't know much about that, but I just know my friend was at an event, and the ceiling fell through. I promise it's a good club though. Even though that happened, it is a good club. I really do like that club. Lakota is quite scatty and rough around the edges. However, I do love it. It holds a special place in my heart, and I really, really love the events they hold. However, I would not go to Lakota spontaneously. So there's some clubs, like I mentioned, so like Mbargos and Lounge, where you can go spontaneously and you know you have a good night. Whereas like with Lakota, I'd never do that. And I have a few friends who've just spontaneously gone and said that it was rubbish. So I'll only go if I've actually got a ticketed event and it's like a proper event and I know that it's going to be good, because they end up decorating the whole interior and you know all your friends are going and you know it's just going to be a good time. The next club I'm going to speak about is called Blue Mountain. Now, I've never been Blue Mountain. I've wanted to, but someone got stabbed outside of Blue Mountain. So there was like, kind of like, we were quite weary to go because it is kind of more in the rougher area of Bristol, which is where Lakota is, which is kind of like past this area called the Bear Pit, and it's in sort of like Stokes Croft in Bristol. And I do want to go at some point. I think it may be closed down, I'm not 100% sure, but it is just very, very scatty, very, very scatty, and I've just heard all sorts about that club. However, they do good D&B nights if you're into like drum and bass and all of that. They do good nights, so I'm yet to try out a night in Blue Mountain, but I want to if it's still around. Following on from the scatty clubs is probably the most scattiest club I've ever seen in my whole entire life. Now, this is called Black Swan. I don't know how this is a club, but it is. And I went there for the first time this year for this D&B event. And I was so amazed. Go in, barely checked us, barely checked the ID, tickets, anything. It felt like we were in a room. There were sofas, people passed out on the sofas, people on the floor. It was strange. A guy skanking in his socks on the gross floor. Yeah, I don't know. I felt like you literally could have caught something from just touching the floor. It was crazy. Good music. I had a really, really good time, but strange. But if you're into all that sort of like grimy vibes and you don't mind where you are, that's fine. Smoking area, go outside of the smoking area, Black Swan. It's a literal fire pit. They're like, the smoking area is a fire pit with firewood burning. And I remember we were sitting on some, like, it looked like someone had thrown away this old sofa that was in the smoking area of this club. We're sitting there and there's like firewood that like accidentally falls off. Some guy's trousers almost gets caught alight. Very strange experience, but like you kind of have to go to know what it's like. But yeah, I'm not sure I'm gonna go back there in a rush, but it was good. The last club I'm going to speak about is called Motion. Now, this is the biggest club in Bristol. It's absolutely huge. It's like a huge warehouse, and they do loads of different performances as well as loads of different nights and events. It's massive, and I think it's known in Europe as like one of the top clubs in Europe. And I really do like Motion. I like the fact Motion has so many different events, and it's just great fun, and it's spacious, and it never gets too packed because they sort of try to regulate the capacity. The drinks are probably the most expensive out of the Bristol club, so I wouldn't really buy drinks there. It's a bit of a Mickey take, really. Sometimes it gets quite overwhelming with how big Motion is, so it's kind of one of those places where you've got to, you know, like make sure that you stay with your friends. They do fun daytime things and nighttime things. So daytime things, they do this big thing called Bingo Lingo, which is great fun, which is where you just play bingo and you like you're in this massive hall in Motion. And then they have events like for Halloween. Once again, they have sort of like the disco, like D&B events. They have loads of acts like My New Lang. They've had so many different people that have come. So I really do like Motion, and it's something that I feel like is always going to be popular. Motion also do really good summer parties. So they kind of have, it was kind of like this boat party vibe thing where they have the outside bit of Motion and the sun is shining, you're just dancing, good music. I've done that a few times. At the end of my first year, there was this massive party at Motion that we all did, which was great fun. That is all for my reviewing Bristol clubs video. I hope you guys found this useful and informative. I know I have missed some clubs out. Comment down below if you want me to do a part 2. I could potentially do sort of like the more bars and pubs if you guys want to know about that. This was so much fun to sort of remember and recall the events and things that happened throughout my time at Bristol whilst being a student and my clubbing life. Like always, please make sure you subscribe to this video, a massive thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next video.